Welcome once again to Train Tuesday. I am your host, Jim Wiggin from Athearn. So glad to have you here. Now, if you are joining us on the live feed, welcome. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We'll do a round of shout outs here in a second. If you are catching us on YouTube, thank you once again for finding us. If you like the content that you see that Athearn's putting out on our YouTube page, please, by all means, give us a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time a new video comes on the YouTube channel. And that is pretty much every week, whether it be Train Tuesday or every month with our Athearn Extra or whatever else we dream up for videos. So let's get started on this night. I see BNSF 9708 saying, yes, it's showtime. Glenn Power and Wardell, Abel G from Houston, Terry, Kevin, Chessie, and we've got Jay Cure, David, Chad, and George, just to name a few. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We're going to be talking GP38-2s, but we're going to be talking about Athearn HO GP38-2s with a new, never been done before in this series features. We're also going to be talking about the Athearn HO Clay Slurry Tank Cars. Now, these are great tank cars, and we're going to learn tonight that not all of them are going to have clay slurry in them. There's going to be some that are little, let's just say, sweet. So let's see who else is joining us here tonight. I see Robert, Ian, John Robert Fox, John Charles, Chessie, Remster Railroading, David, and BNSF 9708 looking for those Bombardier cars. Not tonight. That's going to be next week. Let's see, we've got Abel up here. He's saying, man, we need those in N scale. Well, let's see how we do with those 16K acid tank cars that we did in the Genesis line in N scale. If those do pretty good, then we might do the clay slurry cars in N scale as well. Time will tell. I also see Abel and CJ and Glenn, Roger, and HO Scale Rail Fan, just to name a few. We've got a pretty good crowd here tonight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And let's talk about the Athearn HO GP38-2s. So here is a picture of an Athearn GP38-2 back when it was called the Ready to Roll line. This is from a few years back, so there's going to be some subtle differences, mainly in the features that we're going to be talking about tonight. Well, let's go back and talk about the prototype for a second. Now, the GP38-2 series of locomotives, this was one of EMD's most successful locomotive designs. They were produced from the early 1970s until about the mid-1980s, and the GP38-2 was quickly found in many different tasks on the railroad. They could be found from switching to pulling high-priority freight trains across the country. These versatile locomotives could be seen all over North America. Many of these locomotives are now being rebuilt with ecologically sound emission controls for higher population centers. Therefore, a new era emerges as technology meets proven reliability for these EMD products. Truly, these locomotives, since they came out around 72 in the Dash 2 series, these were popular on railroads, like I said, on the main lines all the way down to switching. And today, you can still find these versatile Jeeps in a wide variety of uses on Class 1s all the way down to your smaller short lines. Now, like I said, here is a picture of CP Rail 7311. This is one that we did a few years back. This is back when the line was called Ready to Roll. Now remember, we've changed Ready to Roll into Athearn now, making it a little bit easier. This is not a Genesis locomotive. So what you're going to see tonight are Athearn locomotives. They're more of a generic look. And when I say generic, that means they're going to include the details that the original road ordered. So you're not going to have those really minute details that the Genesis series locomotives are known for. These are the perfect locomotives for you guys that are maybe have a large home layout, or maybe you are part of a modular club and you need a couple of locomotives to get the job done. Well, that's what Athearn HO is here for. Now, before I get started, everything that I'm going to be showing you tonight, you've got until next Friday, which is the 26th, to place your pre-orders on these locomotives. And for the first time ever, these locomotives are going to have operating ditch lights and or strobes based on their prototype. These are all sound ready, which means they already have factory installed speakers in them. All you need to do is drop in the decoder of your choice. So let's get started and see what we are offering in this run. And we'll talk a little bit about the details each locomotive is going to have. So coming up first, we've got Union Pacific. These are based on a 2010 era paint scheme, and we're offering two different road numbers. We've got 542 and 551, as you can see here. Now, the details for these locomotives are going to be as follows. K3LA horn with bracket, air conditioner, 3,600 gallon fuel tank. These are going to have the chicken wire grills, dynamic brakes, front UP medium plow, rear hose brackets, Blomberg M trucks, firecracker antenna, and this one will have, since it's 2010, operating front and rear ditch lights. Now you'll notice that some of these will have either a chicken wire grill like these UP units or corrugated grills. What does that mean? Basically, even though the GP38-2 was made for almost 20 years, there were different runs of locomotives, different updates that was made. Originally, these came with the chicken wire grills. That was really popular. Somewhere through the production cycle, years later, they switched over to corrugated. And that's where the Athearn product development team comes into play. They look at the photographs, the documentation they get, and they make sure that the UP has the right grills. And in this case, they're going to have the chicken wire grills. We'll see some other examples here shortly that have the corrugated style. Here we've got Chicago Northwestern, roughly 1979 era, definitely 1980s into the early 90s. Chicago Northwestern was pretty good about leaving their stuff alone. They were just out there to earn revenue. And that was until UP kind of snapped them up a little bit later. Here we've got 4621 and 4628. Now, there's some features on here. They're going to have a 3,600 gallon fuel tank. These have the corrugated grills, like I was mentioning earlier, non-dynamic brakes, cab-mounted beacon, front EMD style plow, rear MU hose holder, and firecracker antenna. So once again, these are set up so that the beacon operates. So when you get your decoder of choice, these are going to have a 21-pin NEM connector in them. You just simply plug and play. As long as you've got the functionality for either ditch lights or a beacon, you can have that added feature as seen here. Coming up next, we're going to go back to the 2010s and we're going to go to CSX. Get a lot of requests for the CSX, especially in the YN3 paint scheme. These are, like I said, 2010 era paint schemes. Here we have 2742 and 2754. Now, these are going to include details such as the K5LA horn, which I know a lot of us East Coast guys really love the sound of that horn, RV-style air conditioners, the 2,600 gallon fuel tank, chicken wire grills, dynamic brakes, Blomberg M trucks, and operating front and rear ditch lights, as well as an EMD-style plow front and rear with the CSX-style PTC cab antennas. Perfect for you guys that are modeling 2010 to now, and even you guys that are into the smaller shelf style layouts. These are great locomotives. CSX will use these for switching small industrial areas around different parts of their system. So definitely consider one or both of these locomotives for you modern guys. 1980 guys, we did not forget you. We wanted to throw some Cascade Green in there. Burlington Northern fans there's a lot of you guys out there. And so we've got two from the 1980s, 2262 and 2266. Features on these guys are going to be the Leslie RS3L horns, 3,600 gallon fuel tanks, chicken wire grills, dynamic brakes. You've got the cab mounted beacon that you can see there, the front EMD style plow, rear MU hose holder, and the firecracker antenna. These are perfect for you guys that are into modular setups. You can buy both of these at a reasonable cost. And again, add the decoder of your choosing. Remember, these are going to have the factory speakers already installed. All you got to do is plug in that decoder, do some programming, and you're on your way. For our friends north of me, we've got some Canadian National for you. Here we have 4701 and 4707. Now, these are going to feature the Nathan P3 horn. They're going to have a 2,600-gallon fuel tank, chicken wire grills, no dynamic brakes, Blomberg B trucks, rear MU hose holders, front Canadian style plow, Sinclair antenna, and operating front and rear ditch lights. Now, here, the next one, we had a lot of requests for this one, the Sioux line. A lot of folks took advantage of the Athearn product suggestion email and said, "Hey, we'd like to see some late 1980s Sioux line. Can you help us out?" Well, fortunately, we had something that we could bring to you guys. We've got late 1980s GP38-2s, 4506 and 4514. Now, these are going to have the Leslie RS3L horn, 3,600-gallon fuel tank, chicken wire grills, dynamic brakes, operating beacon, front large plow, rear MU hose holder, cab mounted strobe light, and a Sinclair antenna. So pretty cool. These are going to be perfect for you guys that have been wanting the Sioux line stuff for so long. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, "Man, these are great railroads, Jim, but I don't run any of these." You got anything for somebody that's running in the mid 2000s or so that would be comfortable running on my railroad you haven't listed yet? Well, I do actually. We've got the GATX Rail Locomotive Leasing Group locomotives, and these are great for late 2000s, 2007 to 9, even now. We've got GMTX 2110 and 2112. And doesn't really matter what railroad you're using. If you're in need of power, you can certainly justify adding one or both of these to your fleet. Now, the features on these two locomotives are going to have Nathan K3LA horns, 2,600-gallon fuel tanks, chicken wire grills, no dynamic brakes, cab mounted beacon, rear MU hose holder, Sinclair antenna, front EMD style plow, cab air conditioner, and operating front and rear ditch lights. And last but not least, another one that's been really popular. And, honestly, one of the coolest paint schemes out there. A lot of people really like this paint scheme. It was sad to see it go. Arizona and California, this is 1990s era. Here we've got 3802 and 3803. Not only do they have that really striking paint scheme, but they're going to have the Nathan P5 horn, the 3,600-gallon fuel tank, chicken wire grills, dynamic brakes, operating front ditch lights, whip antenna, cab air conditioner, and front and rear MU hose holder. 1990, so they're only going to have the ditch lights in the front. That's per the prototype. So hopefully there's something there that you either requested or you're looking for, but these are great budget locomotives. They're going to have enough detail. We're going to talk about that here in a second to appease most modelers. And they also give you the flexibility of adding the decoder of your choice because, as I was saying earlier, they're going to have the speakers already equipped from the factory. You don't have to mess with that. You've got lighting features, and they're all based on the prototype. So you can buy the decoder of your choice, plug into the 21 pin connector, do some programming, and you're good to go. Now, some of the features of the GP38-2, the features that we've talked about so far, those were railroad-specific prototype details. Overall details, here's what you could expect from an Athearn HO GP38-2. They're all going to have individually applied wire form grab irons. That's pretty cool. For a locomotive that's going to MSRP as a DCC ready locomotive at $174.99, that's a cool feature to have. So you really get a locomotive that's nicely detailed. And if you want to go further, you certainly can, but we've done all the hard work for you. They're all going to have a 5-pole motor. That's going to give you a precision machined flywheels with a multi-link drive, really smooth operating system. See-through cab windows. You're not going to have the cab as detailed as a Genesis locomotive. However, a lot of guys have scratch built some really nice cab interiors. And so to keep the price point down, there are clear windows, of course. If you want to detail the interior, that's entirely up to you. As mentioned earlier, they're going to have DCC-ready 21-pin NEM plug motherboards. Simply add the decoder of your choice. These are all going to have LED illuminated front and rear headlights, ditch lights in some cases, and beacons in other cases, again, based on the prototype. They're going to have all-wheel drive, and they're going to have all-wheel electrical pickup, which is really nice because that just makes the reliability that much better. They're also going to have a heavy die-cast frame that gives you more tractive effort, gives you more pulling power, and all of the wheels are nickel plated, but they are blackened machine wheels, so they look appropriate. Of course, you can always weather those if you like. They do have the RP25 contours, so they'll operate on all types of track. And of course, they are fully assembled. The only thing that you need to do is to put the decoder of your choice in. If you're not into DCC, you can simply just run these as you like in just standard DC mode. And if you're wondering what is the minimum radius that I can run these guys on, you can run these at an 18-inch radius. Pretty good for HO scale locomotives. They're going to look better on a 22-inch radius, but let's face it, if you've got a small layout and you've got some switching that you need to do and you haven't got that SW switcher you're looking for yet, the GP38-2 will certainly work on an 18-inch radius. Now, these are going to MSRP for $174.99. Again, that's with the factory speakers already installed, and you just have to choose the decoder of your choice. Now, check your dealer for your price. That is full MSRP. That's just the way we advertise things. So once again, check your dealer, and you'll want to place your pre-orders in before next Friday. That is the 26th. And it's hard to believe that May is going that fast. So I'm going to look and see if there's any questions on the GP38-2s. And let's see what we've got in the comments section. Now, if you're saying, hey, Jim, can I have an SD38-2? Hey, can I have a GP9? Well, the best thing to do is to go over to our website and the Contact Us page and send us an email at Athearn-product-suggestions@athearn.com. And that way, those product suggestions go to somebody that can actually make that decision, not the marketing guy. All right. Let's see what kind of questions we've got. Here's a good question. The BN GP38-2 looks great. Thank you. Any particular decoder recommended? Any decoder that has got the 21-pin capability will work. Of course, I am partial to soundtracks. So if I wanted to put a Tsunami 2 in there, I could definitely do it. And since we tell you what horns these guys have, you can look at the sound library and go ahead and put in the correct sound. Now, remember when the GP15s came out a couple of years ago, I had found out that my particular GP15 came from a Conrail unit. And I was able to find some former Conrail GP15s on YouTube. And I sat down, and since Soundtracks had the files for 3 different types of horns that Conrail used, I could just sit there and listen to the YouTube video until I found the right sound for my model, and I was able to match it up that way. That's one of the great things I like about Soundtracks, but certainly any sound-equipped 21-pin capable decoder is more than adequate to do the job. Let's see, questions on the GP38-2. I see some other questions out there. Let's hold those until the end of the show. George is happy about, yeah, I mean, that is just a cool paint scheme. I always like those. I could never justify modeling it though because of what I do for modeling. All right. Jim, are those speakers in the GP38-2s, are they the dual sugar cubes or is it a single speaker? They are sugar cubes. I don't believe they are dual sugar cubes. If John is watching tonight, John is our lead product developer. He will probably comment in the comment section. Look on for that. That's one of the cool things about this show is it's not just me up here talking, but once in a while you'll see John, our product development guy, or even Janik in the comment section. So if I don't catch a question, sometimes John or Janik will. Sid wants to know if they can promote me to head of Horizon Hobby. No, I don't think that would be a good idea. And if you did that, you'd never see me. I'd be behind a desk all day. I like my job right here. But thanks for the confidence. See, around the layout podcast, Mr. Ray Arnott, he says he uses a similar YouTube method to match the rate of flashing on his ditch lights. That's a great idea. Something that I hadn't thought of. I was so fixated on sound. By the way, if you have not caught Around the Layout podcast, go on the same format that you're seeing here or go to YouTube and check him out. It's a great way to keep abreast of what else is going on in the hobby. And he's got a really good thing going on there. Jason says, I'll go suggest some Milwaukee Road Bandits. There you go. It's a good suggestion that might just happen. Paul with an excellent question, and we'll finish up with this question before we go on to the next segment. Paul says, so what determines if Athearn HO units are offered DCC ready or with sound or DCC or only DCC ready? Yeah, that's true. Last week we talked about the ST40-2s, and they're available as just DCC ready without sound, or you can get them with the economy already installed. So what determines that? Well, actually what determines that is a lot from what we hear from you, the modeler. We do a lot of surveys throughout the year. In fact, you probably just saw a decoder survey that we sent out last week. But we try to get feedback from you guys. And we had a lot of feedback of saying, hey, you know what? The 6 axles are great, but there's a bunch of us that really want some economical 4-axle Jeeps that we can use on our smaller layouts. And you know what? While you're at it, can you make them, factory sound ready? And, I'm going to go use this decoder. I really like the Tsunami 2. I don't want the Econami that normally comes with an Athearn, or I want brand B or C. And so that's why we develop the locomotives the way you see. It's mainly done based on customer feedback. Yeah, if you missed the decoder survey, we sent it out on Facebook on Friday, I believe. So look at your Facebook feed if you have Facebook. Or we also sent it on our Athearn newsletter email. Now you're asking, what's the Athearn newsletter? Well, if you go to the Athearn website, athearn.com, you're going to get prompted to sign up for our Athearn email. Please do that, because that's how you can take part of surveys, as well as news, as well as whatever creative writing aspect I feel like doing that day. We send stuff out pretty much once a month, but sometimes we send things out almost every week. So go over to athearn.com after the show if you haven't already signed up for the Athearn email and check out what we're doing. All right, so let's get to our next item, and that is the Clay Slurry Tank Cars. Now, one of the more modern versions of the 16K gallon tank car is designed and manufactured by UTLX Manufacturing. This was formerly known as Union Tank Car. Now, the car is a 286,000, referring to the 286,000 pound gross rail road limit. Let's say that 5 times fast. Designed with a capacity of approximately 16,000 gallons. The car is an AAR Plate C clearance car with an 111-inch ID, that's the interior dimension of the tank, and an overall length of 44 feet. For a complete bottom unloading car, the car incorporates a funnel flow design, and the cars are lined and kept in dedicated service to avoid cross-contamination, which is a good thing when you look at our first set of cars here. Here's our first set. Now, we're offering these as 2 different singles as well as a 3-pack. Now, all of those cars that are offered either separately as singles or as a 3-pack, every single one has an individual number. I'll even let you guys know tonight what those numbers are. The first one that you can see in the image here is Amstar. And you're probably thinking, man, that blue and gray looks kind of familiar. What kind of clay slurry did that haul? Well, it didn't. This was actually, Amstar was another name for Domino Sugar. I won't go deep into the history lesson here, but it was known as Domino until sometime around the 1980s. They changed their name to Amstar, and they would haul, what do you think? Yes, sweeteners, sugars, things of that nature. Now, 1701 is one of the singles that we're offering, as well as 1708. And then the three car pack is going to have road numbers 1704, 1709, and 1712. Now, these are perfect for you guys modeling the 1970s. And I said 80s earlier. I meant to say Amstar became more prominent in the 1970s. So if you're modeling the 1970s and maybe you've got a bakery, maybe you got a refinery, whatever you've got going on there that probably use something other than clay slurry, these are going to be perfect for you. The next one that we have here is Trinity Industries Leasings. There's two singles here. The first road number is 135,527, followed by 135,552. The three pack is going to include road numbers 135,566, 135,598, 135,610, and these are good for you guys that are modeling the 2000s. Now, if you're saying, Jim, slow down on all those road numbers, I can't write that quick, don't worry, go over to our website, go to the new announcements tab and select the PDF for this. We list all those road numbers for you, as well as the eras that they are appropriate for. It makes it easier for planning what you want to run on your layout. Finally, we've got Union Tank Car. This is 301559. We're also going to offer it in another single as 301577. And the three pack is going to include 301590, 301613, 30166. And these are appropriate for 2005 on up. We have three more cars that we're going to be offering, a little bit more modern than the last. Here we have the Engelhard Corporation. Car number 15165 will also offer as a single car number 15214. And the three pack will include road numbers 15191, 15200, 15202. These are perfect for you guys that are modeling 1998 and newer. Here we've also got Amco Oil. We can probably guess what they're hauling. We've got road number 13114. We'll also offer another single car that'll be road number 13225. And the three pack will include road numbers 13158, 13281, 13337. And these are appropriate for 2003 on up. Now, for you guys that want something even more modern, we've got something for 2016 on up. And this is Inofos, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sure somebody in the comments will let me know. This is going to include car number 17796, also another single car, 17809. And then the three pack is going to include road numbers 17783, 17800, and 17849. Again, these are perfect for 2016 on up. Now let's take a look at the features. And these have great features for Athearn HO. Now remember, Athearn HO, formerly called Ready to Roll, you're going to start seeing the new packaging coming out now. It's been about a year since we unveiled our new branding. You're going to start seeing the boxes now mirror that rebranding. So these aren't Ready to Roll anymore. They've now been turned into Athearn HO. But the nice thing about these is they are loaded with features. Maybe not quite as many as the Genesis class, but still loaded with features. So perfect for you guys to add to your fleet. They're all going to have separately applied fitting nozzle, manway, and small safety valve nozzle. They're going to have the see-through photo etch metal walkways and end platforms, full brake plumbing and rigging, including brake wheel, air reservoir, wire platform railings, grab irons, and side safety rail, cylinder, triple valve, brake linkage, train line, brake rod, large brake, and fine scale side ladders. They're also going to have the supports, the small bracket or small brake support, and what's really cool, the placard holders. You can't run these tank cars without placard holders. They're also going to have 36-inch solid silver wheels with the RP25 contours, and the minimum radius that these guys can navigate is 18 inches. So even the smallest of layouts can enjoy 1, 2, or even the 3-pack of these tank cars. Individual MSRP is $49.99. If you go for the 3-pack, it's going to be $139.99. Again, that's MSRP, so contact your dealer for your price. And as always, you only have a few days left until you need to make those pre-orders. So pre-orders will close on Friday, May 26th. Hard to believe that May is just a little half over. And, here we go. So let's see if anybody has any questions. I will let you guys get some questions in before you get back to your layouts or whatever's on your workbench. Let's see what else we have. Remster Railroading says, I need to go bug Athearn for the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner and California Passenger Cars and N scale. Yeah, let's see. We'll see. Definitely send it to our Athearn product suggestion email. I can't promise you they'll come out tomorrow, but you never know. Daniel, I'm going to put your question up here because you're not the only person I've heard this. This is in regard to our survey. It says, Jim, I did the survey. I filled out the first part, but in the second part, I couldn't finish it because I'm in Canada, so our postal code doesn't get through. Can you fix this to allow Canadians to fill it in? Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. I've been spending the last week working on the Athearn website, some of those refinements that I've talked about in the past, but you're not the only one that said that. We do use a third party called SurveyMonkey. We're going to see if we can tweak that. Certainly, that's an international company, so we should be able to fix that in the future. So I do apologize for folks that are outside the United States that tried to complete that survey and have not been able to. We will fix that in the future so that everybody can participate. Let's see. Other questions have we got? Any chance on some Athearn gear? I'm still working on that. I haven't found anything that would work, but I'm hoping by summer I'm going to have something said. Let's see what other questions we have got going on. Let's see. David's got a question on delivery. He says, are the Rock Island GP18s still on track for June delivery? Yes, they are. We have had, as you probably know, myself included, we've got pre-orders that we're all waiting for. And I don't know about you. When I have a pre-order, it seems like as soon as I tell the dealer that, hey, I've got my pre-order out there, I'm counting down the days because I'm excited. I've got a Rock Island Rail GP15 on order, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, unfortunately, there's been some delays on some of our products, and we apologize for that. Some of that is not within our control, but the good news is the GP18s, yeah, they're still on schedule for this coming June. So you don't have to wait too much longer. In fact, I think I got one of those Rock Island GP18s on order, so we'll both be happy. Let's see what else we have. Couple of questions on new stuff. We don't really talk about that too much. Again, pretty much go to the Athearn product suggestions email for those. Let's see what else we have. A lot of guys talking about their projects. That's a good thing. Jim, we need Chessie, B&O, ST70 Max, and legendary liveries. Yeah. Seems like a Class 1's doing something like that right now. Jake here says, thanks for using proper tank car parts names, Jim. Well, I can't take the credit for that. That is from our product development staff. And again, they get paid to get it right. They spend hours upon hours of research. That's why you don't see them much outside of their office. They are always working, whether it be new models or current models with new paint schemes. And so those guys go above and beyond with their research. And so, yes, thank you for noticing that. I know the guys will appreciate that. All right, I got time for one, maybe two more questions, and then I'm going to cut you loose, let you get back to your projects. Tom says, do you have the email for your product development department? Yeah, that's basically our Athearn product suggestion email. So it's Athearn hyphen product suggestions at athearn.com. Now, that goes straight to product development, and that could be anything from I want a new fill in the blank locomotive. I want this road name, fill in the blank. Or you might have some pictures that you want to share of a certain freight car or a locomotive that you want to share with product development and see if it would aid in getting that done. Or maybe you even see something on our social media and say, you know what, that's not quite right. If you find yourself in any one of those situations, by all means, contact us by email at athearn product suggestions at athearn.com. And pretty much it's John that looks at those emails. Now, I will say, just because based on the volume of emails that we get, specifically after a Train Tuesday, John cannot physically respond to every single email. However, he does keep those emails. Those emails are digitally filed and they're used for future projects. So don't think that they're falling on deaf ears. Many times I see guys complain on social media that I'm just going to keep saying the same locomotive over and over again on social media until I get the locomotive. If you really want to spend your time doing that, I guess that's up to you. But the best thing to do is to talk to us through that email. And just because you don't get a response doesn't mean that we're not listening. Hopefully you see with the product releases that we've done the last year, you've seen that we are listening. All right. Well, great. We've already got some guys that have taken advantage of that email. So, John, if you're out there listening, I'm sorry about your inbox getting full again. But you know what? Our team is always happy to see the response from our customers. Like I said, 95% of us are model railroaders as well. So we enjoy this as much as you do. All right. Yes, Eric says, hey, thank you for removing the scammers. Just had one over the weekend. Yeah, we do our best. Now, one thing I do want to let you know, I do control social media for Athearn. I do my best throughout the day to remove unwanted scammers and boot them off. However, I do have a team behind me that helps me out when I'm not available. So we've got guys on product development that watch that as well as my boss who will watch those. So anytime you see something that looks kind of fishy, we try to get rid of it. All right, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. Thank you for the great questions. Remember, you have until Friday, May 26th to complete those pre-orders with your dealer. You're not going to want to miss out on these Athearn GP38-2s. And remember, for the first time, they have factory installed speakers and you've got lighting effects that have never been offered before. So get down to your hobby shop, place your pre-orders for these. And while you're at it, get us a tank car too while you're at it. I mean, whether it's sugar or oil, you're going to need that for the industries on your layout. Until next time, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Good night.